Good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels. We'll get to the JRC in a moment, but first, the disclaimers and the trigger warnings. If you're unfamiliar with the Stop the Shocks campaign or the campaign against the troubled teen industry, pertinent links are there in the description box. We have, as always, Autistic Hoya's massive archive on the subject. Neuroclastic's article, the same one that JRC threatened a defamation lawsuit over, where they interviewed over 800 ABA professionals in regards to the JRC's so-called behavior modification program, and in light of the so-called extremely unprovable claims that we are going through right now, that's going to be some pertinent reading, so you might want to go ahead and take a look at it. Of course, Neuroclastic did not take it from their website, so that's available anytime. Read it, share it on all your social media. We have Neuroclastic's GoFundMe also there in the description box, because in case the JRC ever does see through with their threat, we don't have access to unlimited funding. Anything you guys can do would be appreciated. If you can't, please share it. I know Neuroclastic would definitely appreciate it. To the trigger warnings, when we discuss places like the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center or Agape Boarding School for Boys, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips of surveillance footage of people with mental health issues and disabled people being tortured and abused. If you got young children present, please utilize the headphones. Also, this channel is marked not for kids for a reason. We use profanity and speak on dark subjects. If your child's 16 and younger and they are watching this, parental supervision is advised. The JRC, when they respond to anything, like to gaslight, victim blame, abuse apologencia galore, word salad, illogical babbling nonsense, major purveyors of pseudoscience, big on claims, like with zero evidence to back up said claims. Every direct challenge to their program, the JRC continues to never address at all. It is word salad non-answers on a level that only Elaine Bredehoff would probably be able to understand. So just be aware of that, folks, alright? Also, I do not censor myself. I have tried on multiple occasions just to get a little bit better with the algorithm, but at this point, I'm just too old, I'm too stubborn, and trying to change now has so far not had any real results. I apologize if my cursing offends anyone, but yeah. I'm sorry, not sorry. This is how it is. This is amateur hour over here, okay? This is amateur hour. But there are other people on YouTube that also cover this subject. You're more than welcome to just search on YouTube for, you could use School of Shock or Judge Rotenberg Center. You're going to see some other videos beside mine that go over the same subject. Alright, now, back to the JRC's gaslighting nonsense. Not only that, but these patients have been able to enjoy the many positive collateral benefits of the drop in their SIB and AB, including a temporary drop in behaviors is not a victory, JRC. The fact that you inflict violence on me and a behavior stops for all of 5 seconds does not mean that down the road, somehow miraculously, with my triggers undealt with in any real and meaningful way, that's going to keep me from those destructive behaviors in the future. This is the same magical thinking instant fix world that's got us in all of this trouble in the first place. There is no insta-fix. You are inflicting violence on us. We are reacting to a sharp shock moment. And then, but everything improves with you. Me basking like hell and suppressing like hell, and me crafting and showing you on the surface everything you want to see, down to the very smallest, most minuscule details. It's not a real, actual change in the situation. Why? Because the change isn't real. It's a mask. It's me playing pretend as though my life depends upon it, because in situations like this, it actually does. It cannot be a replacement for true progress. How do we know that it's only temporary? Their own stories. If this device was so miraculous in helping these people get over their SIB and AB, then why is the JRC constantly fighting tooth and nail to keep the oldest of their so-called students who should have long ago been integrated into adult services like the rest of us? Why do they fight tooth and nail to get them back if their approach is so revolutionary and produces such wonderful results? It's because it's a lie. I've told you guys before, I was going through absolute horrific levels of abuse, physical, sexual, as a child. I didn't know a single day of peace. Okay? I didn't even have a chance to understand what innocence was before it was taken. Okay? You wouldn't have known it though. Because during those years in school, due to fear, my grades were always extraordinarily on the high end. I would have full out freak out sessions if I got so much as a B-. Okay? I was very good at giving all the responses that they liked, emoting the way they liked, giving them the surface picture that they wanted to see. Thing is, it's exhausting. The amount of mental energy that you have to expend to not only craft a mask, but to keep it going 24/7 and have the ability to put on that mask at the drop of a hat. No preparation, no nothing. How exhausting it is to suppress all the urges, the issues, all the emotions that you know if you show for a single second is going to cause more abuse to fall upon you. That's not real progress. That is us faking being well so that you all on the outside don't do your damnedest to make our situation worse. But you can only do that for so long. The amount of energy it takes to keep it all going for long periods is well beyond any human's capability to keep it going on forever. There is always going to be a crash, and the psychological as well as physical damage that comes out of such a crash is not something that the JRC really understands or even wants to understand. It's all about as long as you give us what we want. They don't give a damn the price we have to pay. The parents consenting to this are not having to pay the price. The JRC and direct care staff, even the school districts that send the kids here, they don't have to pay the price for this so-called treatment and the way it forces kids to mask, suppress, and hide even from ourselves. We do. We have to pay that price. There is a reason why the suicide rate is so abysmally high in regards to those of us with disabilities. And a lot of that has a hell of a lot to do with it. Some of you conservatives, why do people with disabilities have such issues in regards to identity? Gee. Could it be perhaps all the things that have been coming, except from the person-centered planning, is all about how to craft us into pretending to be something that we absolutely are not for long, extended periods of time, with no breaks, while simultaneously suppressing all of our emotions that we know you all find inconvenient and troubling. And when we are forced to pretend something that we're not forever and ever. And remember, they tried to get us into this as early as 3 years old. And it's a mystery somehow when we have identity crises. You should be thinking about that, shouldn't you? Just saying. Alright, I'm going to read through the list. I'm sorry, I've been kind of babbling here. Successful educational integration, successful social integration, removal of the need for various forms of physical and mechanical restraint, decrease in isolation, participation in recreational, community, and family activities, successful home visits without injury to self or others. We're going to handle half of this first. Successful educational integration, because the problems were so bad before. With successful educational integration, when the mask drops, and it will, the amount of mental fortitude one has to have to be able to hold a mask on so long and so tightly is not energy that's inexhaustible. Eventually there will be a crash. When it does, if it happens in class, so much for the educational integration. Successful social integration. Let me make myself clear here. Forced social integration is one of the worst things within the service system for multiple reasons. First off, there's this weird idea that makes absolutely no sense to me, where people just like, well, if you made more of an effort to be social, you would get more friends. First off, when you learn to mask, kids have this innate ability to sense when something is off. In particular, they're really good when it's too good. When we wear the mask too well. Where there's no cracks on the surface. Kids know that something's off. They can't put their finger on it, but they know it's off. So that social isolation enforced on us by our neurotypical peers not only remains, but now since, I'll call it because that's what they call me, I'm teacher's pet now, it paints a bigger target on the back than there already was by any actions of mine. Okay? In fact, most kids can understand those of us who are more outwardly showing the not so fun parts of our diagnosis as opposed to those of us who are masking too well, because they can relate to shit that they can see on the surface. They can't relate to someone who's essentially trying to turn ourselves into a fan-fictionalized neurotypical. It seems like you're trying to hide something, right? And they'll call you on it. Number 2, why are we trying to force us to socially, willingly interact with our own bullies? Could somebody explain that to me like I'm 5? But your social skills are better, don't you want to try? Fuck no, I don't want to try. I have a vindictive streak, a mile ride. I got a long memory, and I've got attitude problems, okay? The last thing I want to willingly do is to try out new social skills with the same fucks who made my life miserable beforehand by bullying me every single day. Why would I willingly want to socialize with those people? But you're better, the social skills, now you can make them your friends. So, because I'm good at faking being neurotypical, you now want me to use that skill of being fake to get me fake friends, and this is somehow viewed as progress. Yeah. So much for social interaction, okay? Removal of the need for various forms of physical and mechanical restraint. Your device is a mechanical restraint, JRC. Just because it's not handcuffs to a bed or being tied to a chair or tied to a 4-point board does not make it any less of a physical and mechanical restraint. Who are we kidding here? You shoot enough electricity to the right muscle, that muscle will seize. We can no longer move that muscle of our own volition. Okay? Don't piss on me and tell me it's raining. Okay? God. Decrease in isolation, both physical and emotional. Allow me to call bullshit. Bullshit. But Tiffany, as you got better, didn't you decrease in isolation? Hell no! I crave isolation. Most of us do. I have to have long periods of time, every single day, where I am completely isolated from everyone. It is a chance for me to recalibrate, to unwind, to detox from all the things that I've had to do in regards to adulting. In particular, when I have to deal with people I don't like. Sometimes even with people that I do, you get the picture, right? I do not willingly, but isn't being around people better than isolation? People, I can be in a crowd of hundreds and thousands, which I have. I used to do conferences all the time, and still be completely isolated and alone. Okay? As far as emotional, but you're interacting willingly. No, I'm not. No, we're not. That is not of our own volition. We do it because it's expected of us. Let me say that again for the Karens in the back. We are not engaging and acting with proper emotions because this is something we want to do. Okay? Especially considering you condemn us for some emotions and then get mad at us when we don't show enough of other emotions. It's an unwinnable thing. Okay? But you're integrating in real meaningful conversations. How's your day? How's your weather? The birds look pretty this fall. These are subjects I have zero interest in. But I feign like I do because that's what neurotypicals need for me to feel secure. I don't know why. I know it's fake. They know it's fake. But they call it real social interaction and sharing emotions for reasons that utterly escape me. Okay? Yeah. We're not doing that willingly. We're doing that because we have to. Okay? Given the choice between that or hanging out with a whole group of our own neurodivergent tribe, info dumping to our hearts of delight, a room of individuals who do not judge you for it, as opposed to the forced shit we're supposed to do every day, which one do you think we're going to choose? Yeah. My social interactions became genuine, and I be able to got better with social interactions when I was stopped. These people stopped trying to force it on me. Through advocacy, I was able to do these things and get around my own tribe, and then things got better naturally. Okay? This forced shit and then saying, but now you're showing meaningful communications. I'm sorry, nothing about what you all force us through is meaningful or real. It's stunted. Okay? I'm not sharing anything other than a mask. Alright? And already internally in my head, when I'm forced to do said outings, I have a mental countdown as to when I can get back to my beautiful cat over here. Or going to Silver Dollar City, or going to Jeff City with my friends to deal with politicians. You get where I'm going, right? But the ability to hold a job, the ability to travel. How many of y'all have bosses that would hire you if you had a human shock collar on you and were explained to by the job coach that that is there so that if you had a behavior, you could be shocked into compliance? I live in a GOP hellscape. Nobody would hire my ass. I would probably, however, get called into one of the psychiatric units. And then off the psychotropic medications. Folks, what we're seeing here is pseudoscience, pseudoscience, pseudoscience. And due to the abuse, the on-the-surface results that the JRC wants you to see. Now, I'm telling you it's not real because it isn't. These are not real improvements. They're based off masking and emotional suppression, which means the price, when it all hits the fan, when the shit hits the fan, and it inevitably does every time, yeah, it's going to be far worse than it was previously. We're going to go ahead and close out on that. I was going to do 5 videos today, but Again, when it comes to the JRC, even I, doing these front-loading videos, can only take so much. So we're going to go ahead and close out here. We don't get very many views on this channel, and the few we do tend to get removed from time to time. So folks, please don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe, and please don't forget to utilize the comments. I do appreciate your time. As always, folks, we here at Spilling Tea hope you have a good one. I'll see you all another time. Bye-bye, everyone.